The Articles of Confederation were created to be weak, and these weaknesses eventually led to it being replaced by the Constitution that is used today. It made national security difficult for the federal government, created financial problems, made enforcement of regulations difficult, and made it nearly impossible to correct problems within the Articles. Shays' Rebellion and the inability of the federal government to deal with this uprising ultimately showcased the need for a stronger federal government. Maintaining national security was a problem for the United States of America under the Articles of Confederation. Congress was given the power to declare war under the Articles of Confederation, but relied on support from the individual states. Congress could not tax under the Articles, so maintaining an army was difficult. The federal government relied on money and soldiers from the states. People were concerned that both Great Britain and Spain had military bases in the United States. The federal government would need to rely on help from the states to fight off these foreign invaders. Shays' Rebellion showed the weakness of the federal government. Shays' Rebellion was an uprising in the Northeast which required the Massachusetts militia to put down the revolt. The Massachusetts militia put down the revolt because the federal government was not able to under the Articles of Confederation. This led many to call for changes to create a stronger federal government to be able to provide better security. The inability to fight off outside invaders and put down internal rebellions was a reason the Articles of Confederation were weak and needed to be changed. The United States faced financial problems under the Articles of Confederation. The first problem stemmed from the fact that the federal government could not tax. They had to ask for money from the states, and the states had to voluntarily give this money to the federal government. This made it difficult for the government to function and provide services like defense. The federal government could not regulate trade between the states, or interstate trade. States would tax goods from other states. This would raise the prices of goods and lead to higher prices in states competing against other states. These financial problems led to people to call for the Articles of Confederation to be changed. It was difficult for the federal government to enforce regulations or laws that it passed. The Articles of Confederation only created a legislative branch. There was no executive branch created. The executive branch is the branch of government that enforces laws. Without this branch, and without having access to revenues from taxes, the federal government had little power to enforce the laws that it had passed. Without a judicial branch to interpret the laws that were passed, it also had little ability to make sure laws were being followed as they were intended. Eventually, lack of enforcement was another weakness that led people to call for changes to the Articles and eventually the creation of an entirely new Constitution. The Articles of Confederation were created to make changes to it difficult. This was done so that the individual states would maintain the majority of the power. This also made it difficult to correct problems with the Articles of Confederation. It was difficult to pass laws because of the majority that was needed. States all had the same representation in Congress, even though their populations were different. The difficulty in creating laws and correcting the Articles of Confederation led to a call for change and eventually create a new Constitution.